Hello, good people. Welcome back to another blessed message with Lady Ni, also known as Minister A. We are here today with a word. So the title of this video will be The Art of Deception. Yes, the art of deception. Okay? So we're going to use this title in reference to our brother Jacob. Yes, Jacob, who was found in the Old Testament in the book of Genesis. Yes. So this is the thing. Jacob was born as a twin, right? He was born to Isaac. So let's read. We're going to actually be in Genesis 25, starting at verse 21. It says, Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was barren. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebecca became pregnant. Okay? So the babies jostled each other within her and said, Why is this happening to me? So she went to inquire of the Lord. The Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. Okay? So yes, Jacob was born as a twin. It was Jacob and Esau. Esau was the older brother. But we're going to focus on Jacob, okay? So during biblical times, and sometimes today, in many nations, people name their offspring based on some special quality, characteristic, order of birth. It has to be something. So the names are significant. So the name Jacob is really significant. Okay? So again, mind you, he's the younger brother, so he was born second. So if it, let's see, let's go down to where is it? Okay, we can read verse 24, which is the next verse where we left off. It says, When the time came for her to give birth, there were 10 twin boys in her womb. Not 10, but twin, okay? The first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment, so they named him Esau, okay? After this, his brother came out, and his hand grasping Esau's heel. Keep that in mind. So he was named Jacob, okay? So Jacob means he grabs the heel in some translations. So I had to do some research, okay? And I looked up this name Jacob. And it also has several meanings as translated from Hebrew and other languages. So Jacob also means to circumvent. It means to follow behind. So again, being the younger brother, we get that, the younger twin. But to circumvent means to outwit, deceive, overcome, find a way around. Okay, Jacob, which lived up to his name, his name represented his character throughout his story, his time in the Bible. Did you know that? But we're going to dive into it. But I thought that was very interesting. It means to deceive. So again, these biblical names often represented the person's character or their personality traits or something significant about this individual that will be demonstrated throughout the Bible. Okay, so when I thought about the fact that he grabbed the heel of his brother's foot. Now, if you grab somebody's foot, that means you're trying to trip them. You're trying to stump their growth. You're standing in the way of their progress. You desire to hinder their progress. You are a hindrance. That is what Jacob served as to his brother Esau. If you continue. So in Genesis 25, and I'm not going to read every single scripture, okay? You read your whole entire Bible. But from verse 29 to 34, what happens is Esau has a birthright. He's the older brother. So he's guaranteed certain inheritances based on the order of his birth. However, Jacob tricks Esau out of this birthright. Esau was hungry. Jacob says, hey, I'll give you something to eat if you give me your birthright, okay? And essentially, that was one of the first evidences of deception on Jacob's part. Yes, he knew the art of deception. He knew how to swindle his way around. And that goes back to the definition of being able to deceive, outwit, outsmart, outlast, you know. Now, essentially we look at it as a bad thing, you know, a negative thing. You might say, oh, he's deceptive. That means he's evil. But in this game called life, we are called to be able to outwit, outsmart the enemy, be on the up and up. You hear me? We don't tell the devil what our plans are. We outwit the devil. So it's not always negative in some senses. Okay? Because if you look at it, Jacob used what he had to get where he wanted to be. Okay? So also, if you look at Genesis 27, read your whole entire Bible, he stole Esau's blessing. See, the thing is, again, that art of deception, it could go both ways. It can lead to outwitting the devil, or you can outwit your family members. You can deceive your family members, and that is not what we want to do. You know, at any times we're using our wits, our smarts, our intelligence, we want it to be against the kingdom of darkness, because the enemy can actually trick you. He can have you going against the wrong people. You hear me? You can go against your brother. The devil can have you believing things that aren't true. It's another message that I was considering, but it's called the art of illusion. You can start seeing things that really aren't there, hearing things that really aren't true. And also, it's dependent on your perspective. So if you're, I'm just going to use this as an example. As I face you right now, my right is here. However, your right is on the opposite side at this time. If you're on the opposite side of the camera. So again, it's perception. It's illusion sometimes. And we have to be clear that the devil uses these tactics against believers. So it's not only Jacob who deceives, it's the enemy. Okay? I just wanted to do that side note. Okay? So the focal point of the art of deception will be focused on the relationship that Jacob had with Laban. Okay? Laban was his father-in-law. If you remember the story, Jacob loved Rachel. He wanted to marry Rachel. However, he got tricked by Laban into marrying Leah. In both instances, he was charged with working for Laban as a shepherd. Now, Jacob was a skilled shepherd. You know, you work for free for all these years, you're going to start to develop some skills. You hear me? So over time, he just developed these fantastic skills as being a shepherd. Okay? The thing was, he wasn't getting paid his due justice. You feel me? He was working essentially for free. But he obtained his marriages. That's what he was working for. But over time, that's a lot of taxing work on your body. So he was ready to go. He got to a point where Jacob was like, okay, my work is done. It's time for me to leave. But the thing is, Jacob was successful. You work for people, you have jobs, and they start to see that you are the prize. You are the one on the job. You get things done. So what do? They start adding more work on your plate. Okay? They don't want to let you go. You the prize possession. You the prize employee here. Okay? So in this case, Jacob was that to Laban. So Laban was like, I know your time is up. However, I need you. I don't want you to go. That's what he said. So we can turn to Genesis 30. And from verse 25 to 34, I don't know if I'm going to read it. Again, read your whole entire Bibles. Just know that Jacob was saying to Laban, look, it's time for me to leave, okay? So the thing is, Laban was like, okay, I don't want you to go. How much can I pay you to keep your service here? What can I give you? Jacob responded, I don't want any other payment. I just want to go. However, this is what you could do. Let's go to verse 28 of 30. He added, name your wages and I will pay them. That is what Laban says. 29, Jacob said to him, you know how I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care. The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household? Look, I'm tired of working for you. I'm a man. I have a couple wives. I got children. Like, it's time for me to take care of my own self. So Laban responds, what shall I give you? Jacob says, don't give me anything, but if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all of your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages, and my honesty will testify for me in the future. Keep that in mind, okay? Whenever you check on the wages you have paid me, any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark colored will be considered stolen. Okay, so Laban agrees to this. Now, this is the thing. You have to be mindful of the people you get into agreement with, contract with, okay? Because every contract, just because, you know, some words on paper don't mean it's legitimate. We talked about being careful about who you marry. You know, those covenant, they're not even covenant. They were just legal marriages. Those relationships. Be careful who you do business with as well. Because the thing is, some people are sly. They, you know, Jacob is a fox at this point. The problem here, or the issue that Laban missed, is that he was working for free. So just like he just acknowledged that he was increasing his flock, he was doing good work, that means his skills had grown. So if your skills are grown, that means you're good at what you do. You're good at what you do. You're an expert at this point. Laban underestimated Jacob's skill and ability. See, he just thought, oh, he's just a shepherd and he's tending the flock. He didn't know that he knew some things. He learned some things outside of that. Essentially, he learned how to outwit Laban. That's what he learned over time. That's why you got to be careful. People come meek and mild. And we skipped over this, but you can read your whole entire Bible. One quality that Jacob had, if you go back when he was born, is that he was quiet. He was subdued. Let's go to 25 back. Where it says that? In verse 27, it says, the boys grew up and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was a quiet man, staying among the tents. I told you before, be careful of those quiet people. Those people in the back, the people you overlook, the people you think are not paying attention, they not focused. Be careful of them. See, there are the quiet ones are like sponges. They're absorbing information. They have the best seats because they're unassuming. People think they're not harmful. People don't fear the quiet people. People don't even look their way because they think, oh, they just go sit in the back. They subdued and all those things. See, Jacob was a quiet. I mean, he was peaceful. He was meek, mild. He looked like he didn't pose a threat. That's the art of deception. Come on, y'all gotta be on this. Now I'm getting excited. It's the art of deception. When you see somebody and you're like, oh, you know, that's why they say don't judge a book by its cover. You hear what I'm saying? People gonna look at you and say, oh, you too small. Oh, you too this, you too that. Oh, you from the hood. Oh, you ain't got no money. Oh, it's always some O's. Because they look at you and judge you based on certain qualities, certain appearances. They just underestimate you. And this is a case of what happened in this scenario with Jacob and Laban. Laban was like, okay, you go in, get the defective sheep, the defective goats, because he said anyone that is spotted or speckled or dark colored, meaning that they're not pure, they're not good enough, all the speckled ones, go in, you can keep them. So, and essentially Laban thought he was getting away, again, with tricking Jacob. However, Jacob had grown over these years. These 14 years is working as a servant. He had grown, he had developed skills, his brain power had increased. Laban missed it. He missed it. He thought he was the same person from when they first encountered each other. He didn't realize, no, I had developed skills over these years. I've grown. That's what Jacob had done. He wasn't verbally saying it, but Laban didn't think about it. He didn't really sit back and say, okay, he's been here all these years. I know he didn't just learn how to feed the sheep, feed the flock with substances. What else was he learning over the time? What other skills had he developed? See, he missed it. Jacob, on the other hand, not only was he familiar with the animals, he was familiar with the plants, the birds, everything. Everything surrounding that particular situation, you know. That's just like college. People go to college. Yeah, you go to college to get your education, to further your education, but you also develop people skills. Yes, you develop skills on how to live independently, how to manage your money. Yeah, how to navigate the world. Yeah, how to get from point A to point B. For those who have been chauffeured with their parents, now you learn how to be independent. So it's not just you learning books, you learning streets, you learning how to navigate life. That's the thing. You growing spiritually, all of this. So Laban had missed the mark. He had missed the point that Jacob had developed several different skills. Not just how to manage the flock, not just how to feed the sheep. No, he had learned how to manage life. How to outwit, outsmart, how to live up to his name. You hear me? So we saying all this to say that, I don't want to read the whole thing. I'm going to give you the footnotes on what happened. So Jacob, let's go to 37. Jacob, however, took fresh cut branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the whiter inner wood of the branches. So essentially what he was doing is he knew that these particular trees and plants would attract the animals to a certain spot. Okay. Again, he learned nature. He was out in the field. He wasn't just learning how to keep the sheep in the fence. He was learning other skills. That's why you don't underestimate those people who are absorbing the information. They are sponges. They're not sitting there just looking cute. They get information. They're undercover agents for the Lord. You hear me? But I digress. Let's go back to the story. Okay, so he had learned how to attract the animals to a certain point. So he came up with this idea that he was going to mate the stronger animals with the spotted animals to ensure that the stronger ones would be spotted, speckled, disregarded, ignored. He knew how to do that. So essentially, Laban in his mind thought that the spotted, speckled, dark-colored ones were insignificant. They were the weaker ones. So he said, you can have all of them. You can have them, Jacob. But Jacob used his brain. That's why brain power is often better, more important than physical strength. Using your brain, using wisdom. That's why Solomon asked God to make him wise. He could have asked for riches, health, wise. He could have asked for all this. He said make him wise, to make wise and sound judgment. Essentially, this is what Jacob was doing. He said, I know how to outwit, how to deceive. It's the art of deception. So what he did was ensured that all of the stronger animals would have these spots that Laban would be like, okay, you can keep them. You can keep them. Because he thought they were going to be weak. Essentially, it was the opposite. And because Laban underestimated Jacob's ability to use his brain power, he was outsmarted, outwitted at this point. Okay?